Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today's video is the start to a series which we will call as TypeScript 101, where we will be learning TypeScript right from a beginner level and go up to advanced. Okay, so first let me tell you what the prerequisites are. So first thing is you should have a basic knowledge of JavaScript in order to go ahead with this course, and you need to have a Node.js installed on your machine. That's it. So let's quickly go through our course outline. So this is just a high level picture of how the course outline would go, or how the course would go. So the first thing is we will go through the introduction of TypeScript, right? So here we will try to understand what TypeScript is, what are the benefits of TypeScript, TypeScript versus JavaScript, and so on and so forth. Second thing is TypeScript language fundamentals. So here we will try to understand the different types and interfaces that are there in TypeScript, and we will try to use the predefined types. We will try to see how we can declare a function, how we can call a function, how we can declare objects, how we can declare arrays, and so on in this topic. So next is we will learn the advanced TypeScript concepts. So under this we will learn what enums are, how to use them, different types that are there in TypeScript like the union, intersection, etc. etc. We will also learn generics. We will also learn what are decorators. Then comes the fourth part, that is TypeScript best practices. So here we will try to understand what best practices that we can follow during coding to make our coding even more better and robust. We will try to use the TypeScript coding conventions. We will see how we need to do error handling. Then in the final part of this course, we will try and see how we can use TypeScript with React. That is the entire picture of how our course for TypeScript 101 series will go ahead. And I hope you enjoy this series and learn TypeScript really well. That's just my aim. So let's get started with this first video, which will cover the first topic, that is introduction to TypeScript. So let us try to understand what is TypeScript, which is the main question, and why we are trying to learn it. So as you can see here, TypeScript here is a bigger circle inside which there is JavaScript, and we call it the superset of JavaScript. So that means what? That means that TypeScript has all the features of JavaScript, plus it has some additional features. So what does that mean? First of all, TypeScript is an open source programming language which was developed by Microsoft. Okay, and it extends JavaScript by adding something called as static types. And these types help us catch errors during the development, making our code more robust and maintainable. So what does static type mean? We will understand when we are coding. Okay, just I'll give you a brief idea. Let's say you're coding in JavaScript. You must have defined or declared variables, right? So how do you do it? You just say var a or let a or const a is equal to whatever value you want to provide to it. So if you see here, there is no defined type to that variable, and hence going forward in the same code, you can suppose you defined a and give it a number 1, but you can go down in the same code and give a value of a string, and still JavaScript won't throw any errors. While as TypeScript, since we use static types, you do not define just var a, but you say var a to be a number, suppose, if you want to make it a number, and you give it the value 1. So further along in the code, if you try to provide a value of a string, TypeScript will throw an error there and there on the screen, which will be visible to your eyes. So that is the power of TypeScript and static types. So let's go forward and let's try to understand the differences between TypeScript and JavaScript. So the first difference is that just now that we discussed, the JavaScript is dynamically typed, whereas TypeScript introduces static typing. Second is TypeScript allows you to define types for variable, function parameters, and more, providing clarity and predictability. It's just continuation of the first point if you go to see. Now let us understand the different benefits of TypeScript. Okay. So the first point is improved code quality and readability. So the points that we have mentioned in the previous slides, they sum up to this first point. Second is early detection of errors and bugs. So like I told you in the previous example of defining a variable in JavaScript and TypeScript, so whenever there is any error in TypeScript, it will be visible, mostly it will be visible to your eyes on the IDE itself. So that will make error handling and error detection even more better. Third is better collaboration in larger teams. So imagine that you are put into a large project, okay, where there are 10 or 12 team members, and if the code base is in TypeScript, it will make your life much easier. Trust me. This will help in telling you what a particular function accepts, what it returns, then what a particular class does, etc. etc. So this will really make your life much simpler. So this is a basic understanding of what TypeScript is, the differences between TypeScript and JavaScript, and what are the benefits of TypeScript. Now let's go to the main part, that is let's start coding, guys. So I have opened a folder in VS Code. What I'll do is I'll create another folder and call it intro to TS. So first thing we do is let me cd into that folder and let me run. So first make sure that you have Node.js, and to verify that just type node-v. So currently I'm using Node 18.16. Let me run npm init. This will initialize package.json for me, and let me put -y. It will pre-fill all the details for me. And now if I open the folder here, you can see there is package.json. Now let me create a index.js file, or let me call it main.js for now, and let's start coding. So here in this video, I just want you all to understand why we need TypeScript. So we'll do minimal coding in this video, and going ahead when I'll be teaching you other concepts in TypeScript, we will be coding them out together. Let me define a function called as division. So this division function will take in two parameters and it will return the value of a divided by b. Okay, and here since it's an arrow function, put an arrow here, stop throwing errors, and what I'll do is let me call the function by passing in 1 comma 2. So now if we think, the answer should be 0.5 because we are dividing 1 by 2. In order to run this file, we need to use node and mention the file name, that is main.js. This will run the function file for us, and it will return the console log value. As you can see, we have got 0.5. Now what if by mistake there is a value of 0? So we know that anything divided by 0 is infinity, right? So if I run this, you can see it's infinity. So this is one edge case that we should handle. So in order to do that, what we can do is if b is equal to 0, then return, maybe we can return a 0. Okay, so if by mistake, if somebody ends up passing 0 as the denominator, b will get 0 as the answer. Pretty straightforward and a good way to handle this error. But now let us do another thing where we pass a string instead of a number. So let's see what will happen in that case. So I have passed the numerator as hi, which is a string, and we have the denominator as 1. So just think, if you have ever used JavaScript, just think of what would be the answer. Let me now run the file for you, and as you can see we are getting NaN. This basically means that it's not a number. As you can see, when we are coding, we have no indicator as which is telling us that stop there. You are passing a string. You cannot do it, right? There is no indicator. Everything is happy, everything is clear, and everything is good. So this is one thing that JavaScript lacks and TypeScript makes up for, right? So now it's finally time to write our first TypeScript code. I hope you are excited for this. So in order to do that, let me first install TypeScript. You can either install it globally by giving the -g, or you can only install it for this project. So I will install it only for this project, and I'll give it a -d flag. This means that it will be installed as a dev dependency. Now, why a dev dependency? Now listen to this really carefully. TypeScript is just a development tool. We will compile TypeScript, which will convert the TypeScript file to JavaScript, and this JavaScript will actually be run. Okay, so TypeScript is just a development tool and nothing else. I hope that is clear now, and let me click enter. We have installed TypeScript. Let me go into the package.json. As you can see, there is a node modules folder that is generated now, and in the dev dependencies you can see TypeScript. This latest version is 5.2.2. Okay, great. With this TypeScript we get something called STSC, which means the TypeScript compiler, which we will use to compile our TypeScript files into JavaScript. So first thing that we can do is run npx tsc-init. This will create a tsconfig.json file. This is basically a file which has a set of instructions which tells the compiler to follow these instructions to convert that TypeScript code into JavaScript, right? You don't have to worry about this file for now, because we will try to understand more about this file as we go on through the course. Okay, great. Let me clear the console. Let me go back and let me create our first TypeScript file. Let me call it index.ts. Okay, now let us try to recreate the division function. Const division is equal to an arrow function. And now let us see the beauty of TypeScript. Now we were passing here two variables, right? And we know that they should be a number. So let's add a and tell TypeScript that it's going to be a number. Let us add b and let us tell it that it's also going to be a number. And this is how basically we define types for TypeScript. We just put colon and then the type, whereas in JavaScript there is no types for it. Another thing that we can do is we can add the same error handling case, where if the denominator is equal to 0, we return 0, otherwise we return a divided by b. And now if I hover over this division, so that is another advantage or benefit of TypeScript. The IDEs, they intelligently tell you what a function takes as the parameters and what it returns. So as here you can see, it is taking two numbers as parameters and it is returning a number. So here arrow, after the arrow, the number that it is showing means that it is returning a number. So we can do it explicitly as well, where we can define it here. So this would mean that this function expects a number to be returned. So now if I show you a magic, suppose if I try to return a string, you can see there is a red squiggly line, okay, and if I hover over that red squiggly line, it says that type string is not assignable to type number. That is because it expects a number to be returned. So now if I quickly turn it into a string, here, now it is throwing an error here because here we are trying to return a number instead of a string. So this is the power of TypeScript because you can visually see all your errors. Trust me, these red squiggly lines are your helpers and are your friends. So do not worry about these. Let me type a divided by b back here. Let me try to call this function and let me pass first the value of a divided 1 divided by 2. Sorry, and to pass it with commas. Okay, and in the next thing what we will try to do first let me try to log this value and see if this is working fine. So in order to do this, what we need to do is run npx tsc and then the name of the TypeScript file. This will in turn create a JS file. So keep looking at this section. As you can see, magically, there is now an index.js file as well. And if I open it, you can see the exact similar code. But now, let me try and run the function. So now, what you need to do, as I said, TypeScript is just a development tool. Finally, we will run the JavaScript. So we need to run index.js. And as you can see, it printed the value 0.5. Now, let's see the magic of TypeScript. Division, and now as you can see, when I'm going to type, it says that you should pass two numbers to it, right? But no, I won't pass a number. I will pass a string and then I'll pass a number to it. And as you can see, it is throwing an error here that argument of type string is not assignable to parameter of type number. So let me tell you what arguments are. Arguments are the values that you pass to the function call, whereas parameters are the ones that are there in the function declaration or function statement. Okay, so that is what it's trying to say, that you're trying to give a string to a number. Okay, suppose now even if you overlook this step and suppose you try to compile this file, and here you go, it throws, the compiler itself throws an error and it shows you the exact location where the error is being thrown. So as you can see here, line 8 is throwing the error, and this is why we need TypeScript, whereas JavaScript would have run anyways, right? So this is the magic of TypeScript. I hope you loved today's video. This is just the first video of this entire course, and I'll be releasing videos. I'll try to release videos every week, and make sure you like this video if you loved it. And in the next video, we will try to understand the different types that are there in TypeScript, how we can declare a array, how we can declare object, how we can declare a tuple, etc., etc. And stay tuned for the next video then. Till then, happy coding and bye.